I'll hit OK again. And I get this little warning saying, hey, that's not an empty directory. Are you sure? Now, because we're doing an empty project, we're safe here. But if you had selected any of the other options there, you might want to just be a little bit careful because there's a possibility that it could overwrite files that you have inside of your folder here. So do a few test projects with that just to get familiar with what gets written in each case. But here it's an empty project, so we're totally safe. I'm going to hit OK. Now look at this. This is one of the nice features of Flash Develop. Over here we have a project panel, and inside of the project panel you're going to be able to see listed here all of the assets related to this project that we're working in, which is beautiful. The other really nice thing is that Flash Develop is going to remember all of this stuff for you. So if you close it down, like you go to dinner or to play some video games or something like that, and then you're coming back to the project, as soon as you open Flash Develop, it's going to remember what code you are writing, where the project is, what assets are in the project, and have it all ready there for you. It's going to open up the exact same way that you closed it. That is beautiful. Such a time saver. So how does it do that? Well, if you look inside of our folder here, you're going to see there's a little unfamiliar file here with a little orange icon. That is your Flash Develop project file. You don't want to delete that because that is where Flash Develop is storing all of that information. If you delete it, it's not going to be able to help you anymore. So that's just something to keep in mind. Alright, so let's go back into Flash Develop and we'll use another one of those nice features that it gives you, which is code generation. If you go to the File tab and you select New, look at all of these options it gives you. I want to create a new AS3 document. Select that, and boom, it automatically sets up a few things for me. It's ready to go. So see here in line 8 where it says public class? Well, here's where we're getting started on creating our first class file. Now, a class file is really just a piece of code. It's a list of instructions that we're going to give Flash, and then we're going to link it up to our FLA file so that every time we compile that FLA, whatever instructions we place in the document class are going to get executed. So that's not all that different than if we say would have put some instructions on the first frame of the Flash file, but now we're working externally in a much more powerful code editor. To do this, we have to select a name for our class file. You can call it anything that you want. There's no restrictions at all, but it's a good idea to name your classes a little bit descriptively according to what they're going to do. So this is a document class, so maybe what I'll say is project document. There we go. So now my class has a name, and the first thing that I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to save this under the same name. In a couple of minutes I'm going to show you why that is so important. So let's go File, Save As, and you have to save it into the same folder that you're working in. There's our document example and project document. You can type the .as if you wish, but you don't have to. I'm going to hit save, and look what happened over here inside of the project folder. It's automatically being added inside of there. So see, it's already helping us out and keeping track of things for us. So now we have a class that has a name called project document. That's a pretty good start, but at this point there actually isn't any instructions inside of this class. It's a class that wouldn't really do anything. In order to start putting some instructions in for Flash, we need our first function. So inside of the class file, a function is a small group of instructions. Let me show you how you're going to type that out. You're going to go after the first curly brace here, hit enter, and you're going to type public function, and this is where you have to start getting a little bit specific. This function must be named the same as the class. There's a reason for that. So I'm going to type project document. I'm going to put two little round braces like that. Then I'm going to type an opening curly brace, and when I hit enter, you see Flash Develop is going to put a closing curly brace right like that. These curly braces are actually very, very important for one specific reason. When we hook this piece of code, when we attach it to our FLA file, when we compile that FLA file, Flash is going to perform a very, very specific order of operations. Let me save this. Here we go. So now I've just saved my class file, and we can talk about what Flash is going to do when we hook this file to it and compile the file. The first thing that it's going to do is it's going to look for the actual ActionScript file, and it's going to look under the name that we tell it to look. In this case, that name, the name of the file, as we see up here, is project document. When it finds project document, it's going to look inside of it for a class called project document. Now, the way that it knows how to drill inside of these instructions is via those curly braces. You see how when I select here, Flash Develop highlights in purple these opening and closing braces? The same way that Flash Develop helps us with that is the way that Flash is going to know to drill down inside of this document. When it drills down inside, it's going to find a public class called project document. It's going to once more drill inside of that using the curly braces and find a function with the name project document. That's how it's going to know to execute any code that is inside of that function. This function is referred to as the constructor for that reason. It is the only function inside of a class file that is going to have the same name as the class. So take a look at these three steps. You must have a function with a name. The class must have the same name, and it must be saved under that name with a .as extension. So this is pretty much a functional class file at this point. It still doesn't have instructions inside of it, but let's skip back into Flash because we want to see how we're going to actually hook this document class up to the Flash. Alrighty. So I'm going to bring Flash back up again, and you'll recall that we said inside of the properties panel, this field right here called class is going to be important to us. Now the reason that that is going to be important is because this, you see if I highlight it there, Flash is hinting and saying, hey, this is where the document class is going to go. All we have to do is type in the name of that class that we just created. So I'm going to type in project document, and I'm going to hit the enter. There we go. And hitting enter, you will notice that Flash just accepted that. Now if you make a mistake in typing your document class's name, Flash will give you a warning. Let me show you what that looks like actually. So let's say, you know, I got forgetful and I gave it a wrong name and I hit enter. It is going to bring up a warning for me. Now it's very, very important to heed this warning, because what this warning is telling you, Flash is basically saying, hey, I don't see any class called that by that name, so tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually in the background just generate my own class, and I'll use that. So if you were to run this thing at this point, it would actually work. It just wouldn't do any of those instructions that you're putting inside of the document class. So let's fix that up. I'm going to close this, and I'm going to go back here. I'm going to get rid of my typo, and just be careful here, because a mistake that a lot of people make is in putting in a .as there. You don't need to. This is the class name that we're looking for. Flash automatically knows to look for the project document .as. So we don't actually have to type that in there. Just give it the name of the class. Hit enter. No warning. It looks like we're okay. So we actually can, save and